Hi guys. Oh, you can see that annoying, there's a screw there. I used to have something hung up, but I've taken it down. Just ignore my messy flat. I'm going to read a bit more of Floodlands. We don't have long to go. Look how much we've got left. Such a teeny tiny amount. I hope some people are reading along at home because I am really enjoying it. Really stressful. So, Munchkin and Zoe just escaped from the island. They're rowing on the sea. They're not really sure where they are, but they did find a map in their boat. Still they rowed on. Sorry, I'm up to page 96. Still they rowed on. The sea had been kind to them so far, but it was beginning to get rougher. Night wasn't far away, and Zoe could feel the fear welling up in her throat again, as it had the last time she set off in Leica. At least, she thought, I'm not alone this time. Between pulls, she peered sideways at Munchkin. If he was going to do her in, he'd have shoved her overboard by now. What are you thinking? She asked him. I was thinking about Rat, he said. Oh dear, said Zoe. He'll be stuck in that little cage. No, I let him out when the attack started. I always did. In case anything happened, you know. Oh, said Zoe. Well, I'm sure he'll be okay. Yeah? Yeah, said Zoe. Shall we swap sides, said Munchkin. My arm's aching. Zoe laughed. Good idea, she said. What are you laughing at? Said Munchkin. Oh, nothing. What? It's just... She wondered how to put it. It's just... you. You're like a different person since we left the island. You've said more since we got into Leica than I've heard you say during the whole time I was there. Munchkin frowned at her. Let's swap places, he said. Gingerly they swapped places on the thwart. As she stood to let Munchkin slide past her, she suddenly felt how precarious they were, bobbing around on the ocean. Aren't you scared? She asked Munchkin suddenly, as she slid back beside him. No, he said. William told us where to go, and you know what you're doing. I know you'll get us there, so I'm not scared. Oh, right, said Zoe quietly. They rowed on, and night came. They took it in turns to try and get some rest while the other one rowed, but the sea was starting to happen. The wind was pushing them hard in the face. Zoe didn't like to tell Munchkin, but she had no idea where they were going to go now. Soon it was no use one of them rowing alone. Anyway, it was too rough to sleep, so they both grimly gripped their oars and tried to put them into the water properly. Munchkin! Shouted Zoe above the wind. What? I don't know where we're going anymore. We're probably off course. We can't hold it against this. For the first time, a wave broke over the side of the boat. I'll row, shouted Zoe. You bail us out. She shoved Doobie's box, now empty, into Munchkin's hand. He looked at her blankly. The water! Get it out of the boat! Munchkin started to scoop the water back into the sea, but before he had made any difference, another wave swamped them. Oh God, said Zoe. Munchkin started bailing, but it seemed hopeless. Leave it, shouted Zoe. Help me point her in the waves. For a little while longer they struggled to keep Leica on course with her nose into the oncoming waves. Then it ended. Munchkin fumbled his stroke into the water so badly that he went flying backwards. The oar slipped from his hands and was eaten up by the waves. No! Yelled Zoe, but it was too late. Munchkin had leant forward again, grasping his oar. The boat had turned and a huge wave slammed into their side. Munchkin went flying overboard. Munchkin! She screamed without thinking, flung herself to his side of the boat. The sea pushed her in after him. For a second or two she was under the water, and then her head broke surface. She gulped for some air. Something pulled at her. Turning, she found Munchkin beside her in the water. Zoe! He grinned. They grabbed each other for a second and then broke to tread water. What now? He yelled. Where's the boat? Munchkin nodded. Zoe turned to see Leica a long way off, overturned. The sea pushed her around like a driftwood. Come on, yelled Zoe. They tried to swim for Leica. The waves broke roughly over them all the time now, and after each one, a stinging, salty spray whipped their faces, making it hard to see. Zoe could feel herself tiring. The water was freezing, stopping her arms and legs from working. She went under. She broke surface to see Munchkin a little way ahead of her, still fighting the waves. She went under again, longer this time. Strangely, it was much quieter underwater. She no longer felt the cold. She no longer felt anything. Darkness was all around her. She knew she was about to drown. Another second and it would be over. The waves poured themselves to pieces above her. She tried to look up through the water and thought she saw a light. She wondered vaguely if dawn was coming. Had they been struggling with the sea for so long? It seemed to be getting brighter every second. Then, with a shock, Zoe thought she felt the bottom with her feet. She looked up again. The light was a brilliant point in front of her now, and she felt herself being pulled up out of the water. She was being taken towards the light, pulled upwards by an unstoppable force. Her head broke through the water and she gasped for air, choking on the sea water, but breathing again. A strong light shone into Zoe's eyes. "She'll be okay," said a voice. "Bit close for comfort." "Yeah, any more in there?" "No, I don't think so. Let's go home." The light flickered over her face once more and she blacked out. As she went, she just had time to realise something. The light was from a torch, an electric torch. After. I feel like I should stop there, but I don't want to. Chapter 1. "Hello?" "Give her time, she'll be all right." "Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?" Zoe opened her eyes. 2 women were standing over her, peering at her. "There, see," said one of them. "You're all right, dear. You're safe now." Zoe noticed she was in a bed, a proper bed. Not exactly clean, but nothing like on Eel's Island. She was in a white room with a single window that let in a fierce bright sunlight. She thought she could hear the sea somewhere not far off. She sat up. "Where am I?" The older of the 2 women laughed gently. "That's what they all say," the other one said. "You're safe now, dear. I'm Rosie and this is Mary." Rosie waited for Zoe to say something. She didn't. "What's your name, dear?" Rosie asked. "Zoe," Zoe said blankly. She was having trouble remembering everything. "Don't worry, Zoe, you're all right now." "But what happened?" "Some of our fishermen found you. You were half drowned. Found you in the shallows 3 nights ago. You've been very lucky." Zoe was still confused. She tried to think, to remember, but her thoughts came slowly, and then only with a lot of effort. But she was somewhere safe, with kind people looking after her. Bits and pieces started to come back into her mind. Is this Gorgonooza?" she asked. Rose and Mary looked at each other. Zoe saw Rosie raise an eyebrow ever so slightly. "Never heard of it, my love," Mary said brightly. "This is Hope. It's a bit west of what used to be Cambridge." "But William said—" She stopped. The thought of William made her think of someone else. "Munchkin. Did they find... Is Munchkin all right?" "Munchkin?" asked Rosie. "That boy." "That boy, you know," said Mary to Rosie. Then turning back to Zoe. "Such a funny name. Yes, he's fine, love. He's been asking after you every 5 minutes. He's your friend, isn't he?" Zoe thought for a moment. "Yes, he is my friend," she said. Rosie left to tell the doctor that Zoe was awake. When she returned, she brought the doctor, a huge man with a serious face, but she brought someone else too. "Munchkin, look at you!" He shuffled in behind the huge doctor, looking smaller than ever, but dressed in some new clothes. He looked ridiculous somehow. "Are you all right?" he asked. Zoe nodded. "She's only just all right," interrupted the doctor. "Beats me why she isn't dead. Both of you to come to that." Munchkin shrank back a little, but sat himself on the end of the bed quietly. "Where have you come from?" asked the doctor, as he examined Zoe. "Norwich," said Zoe. "Norwich?" He looked amazed. "You're either very lucky or very clever. Probably both. We've had no one come from Norwich since the last rescue ship." Zoe's heart immediately started after this. "They must have been on that ship." "Who?" "My parents. I'm looking for my parents. They came off Norwich on the last ship." "I think you must be confused, Zoe. That was nearly a year ago." No, you don't understand. They were on that boat. They must have been. Black, Rob and Kathy Black. Have you heard of them?" All 3 said nothing. The doctor shook his head. "I'm sorry." "But you must have," said Zoe. "My mum was ill. She would have been in here. You must have treated her." "Don't upset yourself, dear," said Rosie. "No, listen." "Zoe," said the doctor, "try to understand. When that last boat came in, things were really bad. We're better organised now. We try and keep a record of everyone passing through. There's lots of people looking for people, you know. But it was a bad time, lots of disease, and there was just too much chaos to cope with. So they could have been on the boat then, said Zoe, her hopes raising again. Just because you don't remember them doesn't mean they weren't here. Yes, but Zoe, you should know. That ship, they had a terrible journey. Lots of them didn't make it. There was a lot of disease. They had to stop at some little island. What I'm saying is, don't hope too much. Zoe ignored him. But the people who did make it, where are they? Are they here? No, we were too full here. I'm afraid I don't know where they went. Zoe had to ask him something. Isn't there a place called Ganuza around here? Have you heard of a place like that? The doctor gave her the same blank look that Rosie and Mary had. Zoe's heart sank. She wanted to believe everything William had told her. Everyone who came in off that last boat went up to New Home. More houses there, you see, said Rosie, trying to be helpful. My Billy took them up in his cart. He did 10 trips there and back. That's enough for now, Zoe. You need to rest. No, I want to go to New Home. I've got to. Not now, Zoe. Listen to the doctor, dear. We'll talk about it tomorrow. They left, ushering Munchkin out with them. Zoe stared at the window, too weak to protest anymore. She sank back into the soft, soft pillow and went to sleep, dreaming of the sea. A little while later, Zoe was disturbed by a scratching at her window. It sounded like a rat scabbing around, scrabbling around outside. Then a small hand appeared and pushed the window wide open. It was followed by an arm, and the arm was followed by the rest of Munchkin. Munchkin! Laughed Zoe. They wouldn't let me in. He smiled. I'm glad you didn't take any notice. He smiled some more. So are we going then? He asked. What? Where? To this new home place, to find your parents. Zoe looked at Munchkin. I don't know, she said at last. What? The doctor's right. They're probably... Zoe couldn't say it, but Munchkin understood. But you don't know that, he said. No, but it's like Sarah and Molly said, isn't it? Said Zoe bitterly. Don't take any notice of them. Well, why else didn't they come and get me? Zoe yelled at Munchkin. Shh, they'll throw me out if... It doesn't make any sense any other way, Zoe said angrily, but she kept her voice down. They said we were found by fishermen. Fishing boats, right? Yes, but... So if they've got boats here, then why didn't they use one to come and find me? Zoe, they've only got 2 little boats here. I've been asking around. They need them for fishing all the time, or there wouldn't be enough food to feed everyone. They don't let anyone use them for anything else. They'd have found a way, if they'd been here, she said. Munchkin didn't say anything for a long time. Finally, when he was sure Zoe was ready to hear what he was saying, he spoke. Zoe, how can you ever be happy until you know for sure? One way or another, you must find out. You've come all this way. You can't give up now. Zoe was silent. Munchkin could see a tear rolling down her face, and then she looked up. I don't even know where New Home is, she said. I do, Munchkin said, grinning. I've been asking around. It's further up the coast. Zoe sighed. What would I do without you? She said, her face brightening. Munchkin shrugged. Let's get going, he said. They won't let you out for days. How do you know? Zoe said. I've been asking around. Zoe laughed. Listen, Munchkin, you don't have to come, she said. I've got nowhere else to go, said Munchkin. But anyway, I want to. Oh my goodness. Literally like 1 chapter left. Tune in for it tomorrow.